Hello and welcome to Thursdays on the Stoop. Today we have Who Let the Dogs Out with Yasmine Ameli. Yasmine is a queer biracial Iranian American writer and fiber artist whose publications appear in Poetry Magazine, The Sun, The Southern Review, and elsewhere. She teaches creative writing workshops and the business of thriving as an artist through Assets for Artists and Grub Street, as well as independently. She's the author of the monthly newsletter Wordplay, Your Guide to a Sustainable Writing Life, and she makes and sells crafts in Philadelphia, where she lives. So glad you all could be here. Yasmine, take it away.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Okay, I'm a PowerPoint girly, and so here are my Google Slides. The theme is circa, I think, 2017, and I've been sticking with it since. Um, I think we're gonna just go ahead and start with some community agreements that I first encountered as a student in a workshop organized by Assets for Artists, which is a nonprofit for artists based in New England if you happen to be um, located in New England. Um, it's really important to me to begin workshops with community agreements, even when it's like a really short one like this, because it helps create group norms around how we show up for each other and what appropriate behavior is. Um, and while I'm reading these agreements, please continue introducing yourselves in the chat if you haven't already. I'm also going to put a link in the chat with this info. Um, Slightly longer statements that I subscribe to. Um, we as a community agree that we'll be present. We agree to honor names and pronouns. We give grace to ourselves and grace to others. We recognize that no one knows everything, but together we know a lot. We speak personally for ourselves as individuals rather than for a community. And similarly, we don't ask others to speak for any whole community. We balance taking space with making space. We are conscious of intent versus impact. We agree to stay curious, open, and respectful. And we agree to bring wisdom and leave names. As far as netiquette logistics, in keeping with the goal of fostering presence, camera on or off is perfect. Either is totally fine. I want you to do whatever you need to do to feel fully present in this moment. And in keeping with balancing making and taking space, please do keep yourself muted when you're not speaking. And there will be moments where discussion makes sense. And so feel free to either unmute yourself in those moments or to use the chat. Either option is equally valid. And I'll be paying attention to the chat as thoughts come in. And I like to always share that when I'm not the facilitator. I'm a pretty shy, quiet person. And so please don't feel like one way of participating is more valuable than another. And of course, if your internet flakes out or a toddler needs attention, just rejoin us when you can. Come as you are. I also want to acknowledge that writing about pets can be so joyful, but it can also be really tough. Um, and sometimes emotions come up that we couldn't have expected beforehand. So if at any point during this workshop you're feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated, just in need of a break for whatever reason, I want you to feel supported in doing so, by having some self-soothing options in the back of your mind that you can return to. The sanctuary model of self-soothing comes from Dr. Sandra Bloom, who's a psychiatrist in Philly who focuses on trauma recovery. The sanctuary model frames self-soothing as physical, sensory, linguistic, or locational. Examples of physical self-soothing include stretching, tapping, intentional breathing, using a fidget. Examples of sensory self-soothing include sucking on a hard candy, smelling essential oils, closing your eyes, listening to a song. Examples of linguistic self-soothing include silently reciting a poem or a mantra or a prayer. It can also include journaling or choosing to answer a different prompt from what I asked you to work on, or not, or just not, or opting not to participate in an activity or discussion. And on that note, I want you to know that while I will always offer opportunities to participate and absolutely encourage you to, it's never an expectation. We're all coming here. Um, from different contexts. Maybe we had a really long day at work. Maybe something hard happened an hour ago and you're still showing up, and you being here at 70% is like just perfect. Whatever, like you as you are is where you need to be right now. Okay. And examples of locational self-soothing include taking a break from being on video on Zoom, or maybe moving to a new location with your laptop where you feel more comfortable if you're able. Um, let's take a minute to individually jot down for ourselves some ideas in response to the following question. If when during this workshop you feel like you need a break, what are a few self-soothing activities you can do to regulate your stress response and restore a sense of safety and control? And just keep in mind that these examples are not going to feel authentic to everyone, and that's okay. That's why it's very helpful to brainstorm ideas that do feel authentic to you. Let's take 1 minute. Right. If you're still writing down ideas, please go for it. I'm going to just take a moment to outline some intentions for our time together. We're going to start by reading a poem that came out recently. I think it was this past February. It's called February by Margaret Atwood. And it really tickled me. So I hope it'll tickle you as well. We're going to do some writing prompts. Um, Crossing my fingers, we'll have some additional dedicated writing time, and we'll end our time together with an optional share and some reflection questions to help you move forward. Okay. February. And I'll actually, before I start, let me put a link in the chat to this poem in case the font's too small, so you can increase the size. There are also like 8 pages of pet writing. Feel free to go back to that after we part today. February, winter, time to eat fat and watch hockey. In the pewter mornings, the cat, a black fur sausage with yellow Houdini eyes, jumps up on the bed and tries to get onto my head. It's his way of telling whether or not I'm dead. If I'm not, he wants to be scratched. If I am, he'll think of something else. He settles on my chest, breathing his breath of burped up meat and musty sofas, purring like a washboard. Some other tomcat, not yet a cap'n, has been spraying our front door, declaring war. It's all about sex and territory, which are what will finish us off in the long run. Some cat owners around here should snip a few testicles. If we wise hominids were sensible, we'd do that too, or eat our young like sharks. But it's love that does us in. Over and over again, he shoots, he scores, and famine crouches in the bed sheets, ambushing and pulsing Eater down. And the wind chill factor hits 30 below, and pollution pours out of our chimneys to keep us warm. February, month of despair, with a skewered heart in the center. I think dire thoughts and lust for French fries with a splash of vinegar. Cat, enough of your greedy whining and your small pink bumhole. Off my face. You're the life principle, more or less. So get going on a little optimism around here. Get rid of death. Celebrate increase. Make it spring. Okay. I have um I have three questions for you. And so if you have a Google Doc open or a journal nearby, this is a great time to reference that. My questions are, what lines stand out to you? What do you find interesting, compelling, surprising about this poem? And what is something from this poem that might inspire your own writing about a pet? We're going to take 5 minutes to individually um, jot down some answers to this. It doesn't have to be full sentences, it can be bullet points or just fragments. Um, let's do some thinking. I'll check back in with you in 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to take one more minute. All right. I would love to hear in the chat um what your responses, what your reflections were in response to one or more of these questions. What lines stand out to you? What do you find interesting, compelling, or surprising? What feels inspiring? Let's call out some ideas.
I like the way she plays with the idea of death and
Mm,
also the the what would you call it, competition of power between the sexes. And
yeah.
she really does that a lot. And somehow the some of the images are quite violent, but you don't feel it. There's a
There's a lot of
hmm?
there's a lot of humor interspersed
Yeah,
and very serious.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the line, the cat like black sausage and yellow Houdini eyes, and the burped up meat and musty sofas, which really like nearly made me barf. Um, uh, the tomcat, and then she gets into all of the war between the sexes stuff. Tomcat has been spraying our front door, declaring war. It's all about sex and territories and snip a few testicles. I mean, it's really good. I don't think of Margaret Atwood in this way, but it's really good.
Olga is in the chat. It seems really in conversation with what you were saying. Thank you for sharing. Olga says, whereas we often talk about the contrast between pets and humans, this poem really sees the sameness between the two. And yet the cat at the end is tasked with optimism. Mm. I'm also seeing how they're saying, I really like the turn to direct address of the cat at the end. Yeah, it really, that is part of what makes it like feel like an ending to me. Um, Emily writes, I'm so intrigued by You're the Life principle. And Heather, oh, I love the Googling. I love the troubleshooting in the chat. Any other thoughts? Mm. Yeah, one thing I love that I think other people are pointing to is Atwood is able to functionally in the poem, the cat kind of serves as a vehicle for talking about other things, but she does it in a way that that isn't disrespectful to the cat themselves. Yes, Emily, yeah. He's not a symbol or metaphor. He's like he sparks a lot of connections, but there's autonomy and respect there too. Okay. Please continue writing things in the chat as they come up for you. Um, we're gonna go ahead and respond to some writing prompts. I hope you're ready. I like to share prompts cumulatively so that if you feel like you don't have enough time for a prompt, you can kind of choose your own adventure as we go on. Some people really prefer to know all the prompts at once. That overwhelms me. And so I do it this way, but if you're someone who wants to know like your options beforehand, I just put in the chat a link to the prompts. My first question for you, and there will be 5, is what is your pet's origin story? These questions are purposefully vague. Interpret it in whatever way feels fruitful to you. What is your pet's origin story. Take about 3 minutes to jot down some ideas. After we go through the questions, we'll have a moment to just do some free writing. The second question for you is, tell me about a time your pet was naughty. What are your pet's quirks? What do they do that makes you laugh? Another way of phrasing this question could be, when was the last time they made you laugh? Tell me about your pet's favorite toy or toys. Finally, describe an instance when your pet interacted with another pet, another animal, or human. Or I suppose the divine. What happened? Okay, we're gonna take the next 8 to 10 minutes um, free writing. So feel free to take a moment to reread what you wrote, maybe underline, bold, highlight what interests you, and just keep going with whatever idea holds the most excitement. I'll check back in with you in just about 10 minutes. All right. Take a moment to finish up your last thought for now. In the chat, I'm really curious to hear, how did that go for you? What was that process like for you? If there's a sentence or a line or a stanza or a paragraph that you'd like to share, in the chat, please do. But I'm equally interested in, what did that feel like? Um, what feels like a next step? Take a moment to gather your thoughts. I love the waterfall of ideas coming in. It's really beautiful. These are such beautiful reflections, and keep typing if you are in the middle of that. I also just want to say that the vulnerability in this room is really special. And I'm really excited to see where this writing goes for you. Mm. Please keep sharing in the chat. I know that Julian has some information to share. Before you do, Julian, I just want to say thank you one more time for everyone being here today. This is really special.
Awesome. That was so lovely. Yasmine, thank you so much for making this happen. And thank you to everyone who participated in such good faith today and shared pets. Surprisingly deep topic, really got in there. So yeah, thank you to all of you for showing up and making it happen. I'm going to share some links in the chat. Check them out. There is a feedback survey up at the top, so you can let Yasmine know what a great job that she did. There's upcoming events. Next week, we've got Poetry Club. It's the last one of the summer on Tuesday, and the poet of the month is Andrea Gibson, who recently passed away. And definitely worth diving in deeper there. On Wednesday, if you're in the area, the Philadelphia area, we've got a happy hour / creative co-working session at the W Hotel, free to attend. And I'll be there. It'll be fun. Have a good time. And then, of course, the weekly newsletter. That's how you can stay up to date with our fall classes, which will be announced sometime in September. And of course, if you want to support Blue Stoop, help keep events like this free and open to the public, you can pitch in at bluestoop.org/donate. Links in the chat. No expectation, but also very much appreciated if you're able to pitch in a little bit. Thank you again to everyone for being here. The next Thursdays on the Stoop is 2 weeks from today and will be about writing scripts for comics. So if you want to break out of your genre bubble, try something new, we'd love to see you there. More info at bluestoop.org/events. And thank you again to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.